Okay, hello, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to play knight to f6 against move e4, Alekhine, or Alekhine's defense, named after the world champion Alexander Alekhine, obviously not the current world champion. However, today we are going to take inspiration from one of the greatest snooker players of all time and play b5, the O'Sullivan Gambit. Now, as I may have led you to believe, this is not actually named after Ronnie O'Sullivan. If you know who that is, spam W in the comments right now. The O'Sullivan Gambit is awesome because we draw the bishop out to here, very dubious, but then we play c5. And the point of this is we open up our queen, we can then from a5 potentially see the bishop, see the king. This would be a nice fork and it would be unsolvable by knight to c3 because we would just take that knight. So our opponent actually cannot accept this second pawn in the O'Sullivan Gambit. They also cannot play a sort of nondescript move like knight f3, which doesn't do anything to address queen to a5. They can play the move c4, which they do on cue. Here, we hang our knight. We straight up hang our knight. Take the knight if you want, because again, queen a5 will still work here, which is pretty awesome. Now, if they take with the queen, because they realize that, okay, if they take my knight, then queen a5, and they obviously can't play knight c3 because the pawn defends that square. If they take with the queen, we can play the really interesting move knight to b4, as we see here, okay. And my sort of knowledge of this theory is very much about to end, although as you see, playing a dynamic gambit, even though I've been explaining what's going on to you guys, I'm down 24 seconds, and my opponent is well into their second minute, or well into using up their second minute. They are basically a minute 30 down now. So, ooh, knight a3. Knight a3. I think that's a blunder. I think I've seen this before. I think queen to a5. We set up a potential discovery here, and we threaten to take this knight, which is hanging. This knight's going to be hanging. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, as I take my tea, my cup of tea with flowers on the mug. I'm a very macho man. We are simply threatening too many things right now. Our opponent might play bishop d2. And then for those of you who haven't realized what's going on, I do not blame you. This is a very venomous move. But I'm gonna let my opponent reply, and then we'll look at what's going on. But yeah, as I said, I think one of the most sort of intuitive moves is bishop d2, right? Bishop d2, break the pin. Sorry, I'm just pausing to relish and enjoy this moment. We are going to take this free knight here. Oh, my queen. I didn't see this pawn. I didn't see the b2 pawn. Oh, I thought it was on b3. What is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? I didn't see this. Oh, I've just lost my queen. I'm so bad. I'm so bad at chess. Oh, guys, I can't believe it. I've just hung my queen. I got a knight for a queen. That's not a good trade. I'm going to be down 6 points of material. Well, for those of you who haven't worked it out yet, this is a very simple but really flamboyant looking remove the defender tactic, where there's a fork here and a family fork at that, hitting the king, queen and rook here. There's a defender. There's one simple defender of that square. So we can sacrifice our queen for that knight, because if they take our queen, then we go knight c2, the king has to move, and we take back the queen. And if you can do some pretty simple maths there, by the end of that exchange, we will be up a full knight. We will have just won this knight for free. And our opponent now, I mean, you see they are nearly 4 minutes down on the clock. And the point is, if you don't take the queen, I've just won a free knight. If you play bishop takes knight, I just take back with the queen. Okay, they take the queen. We are now going to deliver the beautiful knight to c2. Family fork, king, queen, rook, all attacked by this beautiful stallion of a piece. And of course, we are going to choose to take the queen, and we are going to be up a knight. However, this is the O'Sullivan Gambit. We did give up a pawn on b5, so we only have, I say only, it's a big advantage to have a knight for a pawn. However, my opponent definitely has a bit of a lead in development. I mean, I literally haven't moved anything except from a knight of my remaining pieces on the board. However, that shouldn't be too much of a problem because, you know, opponent's pawn structure, abysmal. They've got double isolated pawns here, isolated pawn here, kind of an overextended pawn on e5. Their king's in the center, and we can easily play a move like knight to c6. But I'm thinking bishop b7 first. Seems really nice. We're just going to go for a super soft square on g7 here. And currently the knight is absolutely dominating this bishop, by the way. This is a really good thing to have an intuition for, is when there's two squares in between a bishop and a knight, they sort of see the same set of squares, the same local set of squares. So they play f3, of course, to stop this threat. Knight f3, we would have just take and won the rook. But that's a piece developed for free, basically, because they had to play f3. If I play knight c6, we might see bishop f4. Maybe I should just play e6. We're going to play e6, just developing this this bishop. I mean, we're not developing a piece per se with e6, but we are allowing the development of our dark square bishop. This pawn is very weak as well. Not only did we win the knight on a3, but we deferred the pawn over to the a file. Now these are double isolated and horrible. There is only one way to defend this, I believe, and it involves trading the bishops, which doesn't seem so pleasant. So the bishop attacks my knight. What should I do? I could play knight f5, honestly. Knight f5, how about that? Yeah, almost without a doubt, actually. The knight is beautiful here. Unfortunately, there is the move g4 at some point to try and dislodge the knight, but if you play g4 too early, you are going to drastically weaken this diagonal. And right now I can give a check, which I'm going to. I mean, I don't even need to use my other pieces right now. We are just bouncing about. If you bring the king up, I can take this pawn with check. If you go across, I could take this pawn with check, maybe. So if you go here, I could take this with check, and our opponent just resigns. Wow, let's look at the analysis. Okay, so here we are in the analysis. If we scroll down here, you can see the graph. Not exactly the cleanest win ever. However, it is exactly what I expected. We played an extremely dubious gambit, giving a plus 2.2 advantage. Let's just tab through here. You see in the Masters database, b5 is unplayed. If you go to the Lichess database, b5 is very much played, with 13,000 games making this mistake. But it's not a mistake, it's a bit of theory, bit of prep. However, if we turn on the engine, plus 2.1. It is definitely very dubious, and there are easy ways for white to just be better here. But sometimes, you know, the temptation gets the best of me, and instead of playing d6, I just have to launch it. In this position, our opponent accepted the gambit. Obviously, that is the best way to beat a gambit, is accept it and just punish it for being dubious. Then, of course, we played c5. That is played 8,200 times out of 9,000. And if we turn on the engine here, we can see it is the best move. It looks kind of dank though. I mean, if we turn the board around, put ourselves in white's shoes, c5, you know, maybe you're thinking, can I take that? And you can, but then you have to be very ready for this, and you have to be able to play knight d2 blocking the check, and after takes, you have to be able to refork like this. However, a lot of people will calculate this and think, okay, if I go take, we see this. That's if they see the queen a5 check at all. A lot of people don't. But if they do see the queen a5 check, they might calculate takes, queen a5. And then they might think, okay, hold on a second. If I block with queen and they take here, well then their knight's going to be hanging, right? Surely their knight's going to be hanging in the end because the pawn comes out the way. And if I block with queen, they don't want to trade the queens because then they can't cash in on the bishop. So they might think, takes, queen a5, queen d2, takes, okay, free knight. And I've had a lot of people play this against me. We flip the board back around here and we go into the player database. Me as, okay, not as white, but as black. Here we go. Apparently I've had this exact position. 11 times and won 82% of the time. Which I believe is 9 out of 11, right? Wow. Wow. Wait, I've got a positive win rate with the O'Sullivan Gambit. You're lying. I thought this would be so much more dubious. I've won, after they accept, I've won 56% of games out of 57. But yeah, I have had a game in this line where takes, queen a5, queen blocks, if you see here, and after I take, we see takes. However, there's the move bishop b7. As I played, we hit the queen, it's supported by our queen, and we hit this problem over here on g2. So it's a super, super dank looking gambit. If you want to play it, or if you want me to make a full tutorial on it, let me know, and I definitely will, because it's funny. But back to the real line of the game. We played c5, they played c4, and you see here I've had this position 15 times. Actually, you might not be able to see this because my face cam might be in the way, but 15 times I've had this position and I've won 60%. So that is not too bad at all. If you look at all the recent games, I've only lost twice because we take, and then as I said, if we turn on the engine here, if they take, we go queen a5, and then let's say they play, I don't know, queen blocks, then we take, and even if they play queen blocks here, we can go bishop a6, and this is super interesting. I literally had a game in this exact line as well. But enough of that, let's go through the actual game, sorry. Takes, queen takes, and then knight to b4. And here, I've had a lot of people play queen to c3. That seems to be a popular move, in which case there is still the idea queen a5, and there are problems. Say you go knight f3, we can go check. And this is a fork because the queen can't take because it's pinned. Again, loads of really interesting ideas. That's why I saw queen a5 so quickly. But here, we saw knight to a3. Now, I've seen this before. I've had this twice. I had it once back in February, and I played queen a5. And I obviously had it just now. Queen a5 is actually a blunder. According to this engine, queen a5 is a blunder. That is because they can go for counterplay with queen to e4 here, defending the fork, sidestepping the idea of the fork, and just allowing this discovered check is actually completely fine. The best move here is to defend the rook, because let's say you try and go for this discovered check, the king just moves. We take the rook and we lose our rook, and this queen is going to do a lot more damage than our knight sitting in here. However, if the queen did step across, then we can just play knight to c6. We're not in a great position, but there is still this very scary idea, and a lot of people do not like allowing double checks, and you can understand why. They played the move bishop to d2. This is what I was expecting. This is what I saw in the other game I had as well, and as you see, this is really cool because I remember the game from back in February. We take the knight. We take the knight, best move, pawn takes, knight c2, and I mean, it's going to be game over. I think my other opponent played, what did they go for? They went for queen e4, which seems to be a more resilient setup, but apparently I went for queen takes b2. Queen takes here. I took here. King e2. I went queen takes this. This was a ridiculous game. Here. 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 And then I took on here. Wow. Wow. Okay, so that was an interesting game that I played back in February. I just thought I would at least look at that. I might not include that in the video, but if you're seeing this bit, then I did. Pawn takes queen, obviously a mistake because we can just cash in on the queen here. Bishop steps back, bishop b7, best move. The pawn comes forward, e6, trying to exploit that weak pawn here, sorry. And then we step back to f5, and after the knight goes here, I believe the best move. Oh, yeah, nice one. Knight to e3, jump in with check, and there are many problems. Mainly, we can just take this pawn on c4. This is going to hang with the bishop as well. We can develop castle. We're up too much material, and we're just going to win the game. So, of course, our opponent resigned here after only 14 moves with the O'Sullivan Gambit. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff that helps out the channel. This is the 5th day in a row that I'm posting a video. Get in. We're going to keep this streak going for as long as possible, and I'm working on some more interesting content as well. I mean, I know a lot of you guys like this these gameplay videos, which are kind of easier to make, and I really enjoy them because I just get to sit down, play chess, talk about it, and, you know, grow my YouTube channel. Awesome stuff. However, I am working on some scripted videos and some sort of maybe theoretical lessons, trying to make them amusing as well, so that we can all get better at chess, and the Will Taylor Chess subscribers can all gain 500 ELO immediately. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow for the next video. Bye.